Welcome to sistah'splace inspiration and entertainment show interviews with authors, celebs, and much more with hostesses Letrise Carter and Selena Haskins.
Welcome to sistah'splace podcast. This week's author spotlight is with new author Barbara Andrews. Barbara, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
It is a pleasure to have you. So tell our listeners a little bit about who Barbara Andrews is.
All right. First of all, I am a woman of God. I've been a woman of God for about 23 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I am an empty nester. I have no children at home. I've raised 3. They are 32, 31, and 28, 2 boys and a girl. I'm a full-time substitute teacher. And currently I am a student as well. I'm working towards a master's degree in marriage and family therapist. It's my second master's degree. My first master's was in business. I have a bachelor's degree in human service management. I received that in 2009. My life has been pretty much like a journey of learning of myself and learning to love myself. And without God, I couldn't have been the woman that I am today. So it's a blessing that God has took me from aggression. He's taken me from a lifetime almost of anger, bitterness. I made some bad choices in my life, but through God, I have risen above that.
Awesome. That's beautiful. Now, you are a new author. So how did the title War Before Wisdom come to you?
Okay, so I basically had a different title.
Mm-hmm.
And it was something about I can't even remember what the title was, because once I got that title, I was like very pleased. So the way the book was written and the way that I was going about the story in the book, it literally came to me. I prayed and I asked God about it, and I sent it to the editors, and they sent the manuscript back to me and said, "Hey, Barb, I don't think this title really matches your content." So I was a little annoyed by that, and I was like, so I need to figure out what this title is going to be. So again, I kind of, honed in on what the content was and where I was going with it. So I prayed and I asked God, what would this title be? So I came up with like 3 or 4 different titles, and I ran them by my daughter. The Bible says, where 2 or 3 gather in his name, there he will be in the midst. So we got together and I ran those titles by her. And when I came up with War Before Wisdom, the Lord dropped that one in my spirit. And she was like, "Oh, Ma, that one's catchy. That will work." I was like, "I think so too." So that's how that came about.
Okay. Awesome. So what is War Before Wisdom about? Give us a little overview. Because we want everybody to buy it,
Absolutely. All right. Let's see how I can put this without telling you what the whole book is about.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. So War Before Wisdom is about a little girl who experienced some diverse kinds of trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Without telling you what they were. She experienced those from a young adult, from a child up into her young adult years. But she was a fighter, and she wanted to be a better person, and she wanted to love herself, and she wanted to just be loved. But somehow she kept running into the brick walls, and she kept falling on her butt, and she get back up, and then she found God. And when she found God, God helped her through some things. And then even throughout the time of her going through her time with God, of being, washed and renewed, she was still falling and making bad decisions. But then ultimately toward the end, she really, matured, and she recognized who she was and where she was. And she wanted to become stabilized, and she was tired of being stagnant. So she found her way to freedom.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds really good. So why should readers read War Before Wisdom?
Because this book actually helps people recognize the importance of being real with themselves. Some people like to hold secrets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times when you hold those secrets about yourself, is because you don't want people to look at you funny, or you don't want people to say, things about it, because it hits a sore spot. So they should read this book so that they can really kind of, I'm almost 100% sure people will relate to the stories, and they will reflect, and they will, they would even want to, I hope they would even want to walk away with, hey, I need to get this secret out so that I can become free, right? So that I can become real with myself and know that I have this stuff in me, and I'm pretending to be this person who's never gone through nothing or didn't go through very much, when in all actuality, I went through a lot, and I need to be freed from it, right? So that's what I pretty much want them to get out of it. Like, let me just become free from my past. And how you become free is you just tell the story, tell it exactly how it was, even if it makes you look shameful, because there's some things in that book that makes the young lady look shameful, right? She looks very shameful, and she just said, I'm going to do it. And I promise you, once you be free from it, it can never hunt you in life again.
Absolutely. And that leads us right into the next question. What is the message that you want readers to walk away with after reading War Before Wisdom?
I want them to say, hey, I need to make a decision on whether I want to stay in my past or if I want to leave my past. What is it going to look like if I stay? What is it going to look like if I leave? Right? So reading my book, I hope they walk away with, I want to change. I want a positive outlook on my life. I want to be a better person. I want to be a stronger person. I want to love myself. So with them reading this book, they should be able to walk away with, hey, I know how to be free now. I know how to look at my own self and point a finger at myself and say, hey, you can do better. And I don't have to allow my past to hunt me and make me, bitter and evil and mean. I can be a better person. I can be free from my past and live.
Okay. Beautiful. That's beautiful. So tell our audience, so how long have you been writing?
I started writing when I was in 6th grade, right? And that was the first time I really realized that I could write. And so I had did this play on my life, and I did it subtly, to a point where people couldn't tell that it was my life, but I wanted to tell somebody what was happening to me. So I wrote this play out. And when I finished it, I wrote it on copy paper. And I had like all this, I mean, it was thick, and I presented it to my teacher, and she took it home, and she literally read all those pages that I wrote in pencil, front and back. And she came back and she said, Barb, this was good. I think that you should talk to your parents and figure out how you can get this published, because I think it's good enough to be published. Well, she didn't know what type of lifestyle I was living at home.
Right.
And what I was going through. So I ended up not doing anything with it. And I don't know where it went after that. but I stopped writing in that manner, and I just started writing, in a journal. And then I went from writing in a journal to writing blogs, as I got older, and then right now I have a page called Women Building Women Ministries. And so when God drops things in my heart, I put it there too. So I find ways to get it out.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. You got to get it out.
Got to get it out.
Mm-hmm.
Can't hold it in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a firm believer that it'll hunt you if it stay in there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So tell us about your experience going through the process of publishing War Before Wisdom.
Wait, repeat that question.
Tell us about your experience going through the process to publishing War Before Wisdom.
Okay, so when I first wrote it, and I was looking for a publisher, and I really had no experience on how to look for a publisher or what to do. But I was actually, we were on social media, so iUniverse just happened to be the first publishing company that popped up. So I looked at it, I read through it, and it seemed pretty good. I went on their webpage, and then it had a spot where I could get an author spot. I forgot the name of it. I'm under that too. I forgot to give you that, I believe. But yeah, there's an author spot. And so I got on there, and it's for any authors that are out there. You can go on there, you log in, and you put your manuscript out there, and you actually start a little journal for yourself, and you set dates so that you could actually keep track on, I'm finished writing. Okay, now I want to have this done. I want to have this published by this date. So then you have all this middle stuff in between. And it helped me keep track on where I was with my book. Right. So that was the fun part. So after I got that done and I was totally finished with my manuscript, I sent it in to the editor. And when I sent it in to the editor, I'm all excited and waiting for the release date, waiting for them to call me and say, hey, this was good. Well, unfortunately, that first manuscript went to shreds. Ooh. They told me that it was just terribly written. Wow. Right. And so they had all of these marks on it, and they had all of this stuff, and then they had to tell me, well, you can't say this or you can't say that because, you may get sued. Make sure that it's not, curtailed towards somebody that and it's not close to their names and this, that. I'm like, I cried. Because I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't think it was going to be that bad. I think I did pretty good with punctuations, and I think I did pretty good with speaking, eloquently. Like, why is it like this? So I was disappointed because it took me another year and a half to get it all together right. And so once I got it completed the second time, I sent it in, and it took me a while, like I said, and then I had to completely finish paying off the package. And I did. And so the package was completely paid off even before I finished the last portion of the editing. Okay. And so it took a minute, and I got it in. And when they reached out to me this time, they said, okay, your manuscript is done. We're sending it back to you with some more corrections, and just look over it and make sure that we didn't change your voice, in which they did. So I wasn't really happy because it sounded like it was 3 different voices, which let me know that there was 3 different people editing my book, because they all was saying 3 different things. And I was just like, okay, which one is which? Right. So I had to literally rewrite it to where it sounds like just one voice, which was mine. So I had to go back through the whole book a number of times, which is not a problem, a number of times before I literally got it to where I felt like I was comfortable with it and that they weren't trying to tell me how to write and what to put in there, because that's what they do. They give you a little piece to say, well, what do you mean by this? Maybe this should go, and that don't sound right. That don't make sense. Oh, it makes sense to me. You just don't know what that is. So I'm leaving it. So it's like, you really have to know that you know what you're writing, because, you know, I had a spot in there about the tsunami, and I compared it to something. I compared it to a time in a life or something like that, and how, you know, the war was like a tsunami or something like that. And they told me, no, you can't use tsunami. You can. I said, I'm gonna use tsunami because I know what a tsunami is. And I left it. I left it. Don't tell me that it doesn't make sense. I know what I'm talking about. You know, I do pay attention to the editors, you know, some of their stuff, but you don't have to take everything from their advice, even though they're professionals, because some of it I recognize they were wrong, even with punctuations. So you literally have to know your stuff, you know. So and like I said, I'm not saying that they weren't good, but it was a really tough process after a while, because you get tired of reading, and then you have to take a break, and sometimes you have to take more than a week's break because your brain is just fried, you know, with constantly reading that book over and over. And then you'll make extra mistakes because you're reading it too much, you know. So I really had to take a step back and take my time, because even now that it's printed, I still saw mistakes. So I'm not really happy about that. But hey, that was the process there. The end process was when the book got printed and it was in my hand. I was just elated. Like, oh my God, I really did it.
Okay, you did it. You did it. That first book. You learn a lot. You definitely learn a lot with the first book.
Yep. And I almost really want to edit myself, because I just feel like what I've recognized too is, you know, even after it's done, the proceeds, you really get nothing for your book. All the hard work you put in it, if you don't do it yourself, if you don't promote it yourself, you're getting maybe 10%, and they're getting the rest.
Yeah. That brings me to a question. Did you consider self-publishing?
I didn't, because I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't feel like I had the time.
Okay.
So, and that's how I still feel right now. I don't have the time. I have the tools. Actually, I've gotten it, you know, to actually start doing it myself. But maybe down the line I will.
Okay.
Because my intentions was never to make a profit off of this book anyway, so I don't mind.
Okay.
My intentions was to just put a book out there so people can understand that they're not alone, and, you know, their situation may be a little bit greater than mine, but I'm one of those people that feels like no situation is greater than another. They all hurt, and they all builds trauma, right? And so no matter what the situation was for that little girl in that book, it doesn't mean that somebody else could not relate to it and feel like they can actually move from it. It's hard to move from that type of life. You know,
I would definitely tell you if to check out self-publishing. I did self-publishing for myself, but there is a lot of research out there, and there are a lot of workshops. There are some groups on Facebook for authors, especially new authors. If you want to learn about self-publishing, you know, it's worth taking a listen, you know.
Yep.
So definitely something, you know, place in the back of your mind, because you go at your own pace.
Yep.
There are a bunch of, you know, and there are a bunch of editors that I am connected to. I always tell authors, even myself, you know, with me, use, you know, try a different editor that reviews in your genre, the genre that you're writing, because a lot of times when we have editors that are reviewing multiple genres, it's a little hard for them to stay what's the word I'm looking for, to kind of stay in that, like on that same path for that particular genre, you know. When you're reading multiple genres, it's kind of, you know, I think there's like a conflict there for some.
You went out for maybe about 10
Can you hear me
seconds.
now? So that
Okay.
brings me to the next question. Do you plan to write more books?
Oh yeah, I've already wrote one already and finished it. Actually not quite totally finished. I just have one more chapter to write. It's called You Can Be You.
Okay.
And I have several other titles that I have waiting, standing by to write. So yeah, I'm planning on continue to write.
Well, good. So tell us, who are some of either your literary influencers or three people that have influenced your life in a positive way, and why?
I can say that my children inspired me. They've always spoken to me, even when I felt like I was inadequate. And I just thank God for my babies because they've always poured encouragement into me. They poured so much love inside of me. And even though I, did not think that I could, they'd always tell me that I couldn't. They always told me that I could. And also my pastor and his wife were very big, intricate in my life when I first came to God, and they became my friends first, and then they were my mentors, and now they're my pastor and first lady. And they literally walked me. I mean, they knew my entire story. And to this day, my co-pastor, I'm her armor bearer, and she knows me like the back of her hand. And when I tell you she knows me, she knows me. But she stayed with me. I mean, there was times I would just cry and just have fits, and she would literally be there to pray for me whenever I called, and she was just very obedient to the call of God. And when she wasn't supposed to answer that phone, she wouldn't, because God wanted me to seek him. Mm-hmm. And I was a people seeker, at the time, and going through that stuff, I just needed somebody to relate to me. I didn't think that God can relate to what I was going to, right? I didn't know him that well. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So they literally had been with me. Oh my gosh, we've been around each other for almost 30 years.
That's good.
Yeah. So they're still here in my life now. So I'm just really grateful that they are, they were in my life and were such a big influence on how I've changed my life.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us, what has the year 2020 taught you?
Oh my gosh. The year 2020 has taught me how to stand up and be brave and not look at the situation, but look at God. 2020 has allowed me to look up. I mean, where people was really afraid of this pandemic and what's going on in this day and time, I literally have, when it first kicked in, I was out there doing some side jobs, and where people didn't want to go to the grocery store, I did grocery shopping for them. And I literally, I thank God that I never got it. It wasn't like I didn't think it was real, but it has taken me a mighty I've arrived. Let's put it like that. I have arrived. I have risen above so much. I can't complain. I can't even say that, man, I mean, from the beginning, from January to now, I have risen, right? Mm-hmm. I have really, man, the book came out, as the money started rolling in like crazy, because I should not have been stable in my finances at all. But God he's financially stabilized me, I don't know. All I can say is thank God for where I am. 2020 has given me life. It has given me strength. It has given me confidence, right? That I can weather any storm, regardless of what kind of storm is going on, that I can weather it.
Okay. Now, we have had a historical, and I do mean a historical year. We have a Black elected vice president. How does that make you feel as a Black woman?
I can tell you that I truly am grateful, but and there's no bad but I'm not political, but I'm always happy when our Black people rise and they become something and they do something. My thing is, I believe that this woman in there is going to do some great things based on what I heard her speech and based on how she carried herself through the debates. Oh my gosh, I'm grateful that she's in there, and I'm praying that she does exactly what she says she's going to do. I'm praying that same personality and characteristic that she's shown at that meeting and then inside of those debates, that we get that same tenacity, that same attitude, and actually it begins to show. I'm more of a person that you have to show me better. You could tell me black, white, green, orange, I don't care.
That's right.
Just show me that you're going to do it, and I'm happy, because you can get a Black person in office and their talk is cheap, know. Yeah. So, but I don't know. My spirit tells me that she's going to be a great asset these next few years, and we're really going to begin to see some turnarounds. So I'm looking forward to that. So yes, I am elated. And I'm just looking forward for her greatness.
Okay. Absolutely. So how can our audience connect with you and learn more about you?
I need to go on this page and find out. I have an author's page, but I don't know if they can get into it. But you can find me on Women's Building Women Ministries on Facebook. You can get me on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I am also on as I said, you know what, I really hate that I did not prepare myself on that, because I forgot that was one of the questions.
No worries.
I know that there was one I was like, oh, I could have told her about this.
LinkedIn?
No, I am on LinkedIn, but okay. I have not. I'm barely on that thing, and I need to go on there and put that out there that I am an author.
Yes, you do, and put your book out there.
Yeah, I need to.
You'd be surprised.
Author Learning Center. Yeah, that's what it's called, the Author Learning Center. Guests can go out there, and I believe that they can find me on. It's called the Author Learning Center.
Okay.
I am out there. It's where all the authors are. They can go out there, and I believe that you don't have to have a sign in to go out there and look and read other people's things. I'm not sure. But yeah, okay. It's called the Author Learning Center. My book is out there. My bio is out there. The title of my next book is out there. Information about who I am is out there.
Okay. Awesome.
Yep. So if they go on that page and come, they don't have to sign in. I don't believe. They can just look up stuff on here. I'm in here now, and they actually will see pictures of people, and I'm out there.
All right. So what's next for you as an author? Any other book tours, any other podcast interviews, local radio and television interviews? What's happening next?
I have this one company that I've been waiting on them for a while, but I'm not even thinking about it right now. I did have some things lined up, but not anymore. I am working with iUniverse on a blog spot. So I'm going to talk with them in a couple weeks about that, a blog spot they have for me. And I guess I'm just pretty much looking to find ways to market. So I'm doing some just some research and stuff to find out the right places. I generally try to wait for God, and I work and then I wait on God. I do the work and then I wait on God, and then I do the work and then I wait on God, because I definitely I'm gonna run into some bad experiences, but I don't have to run into so many if I prepare myself and I wait on God. I put it out there, but I wait on God and not be so hasty. So I'm really taking my time, and I know that they will come. I have been getting lots of emails with people wanting to take my book and make it out of a story, a movie, and then I got a call where a person wanted to take my book and bring the cost down so that they could actually market it better for me, and I'll get all the proceeds, they say. I'm like, okay, you know what, guys, that's enough. So just leave me alone right now, because I really, whatever God wants, if this book is supposed to fly and just do some things, it will. But, in the process, yes, I will be moving my feet to do what I need to do. Right now, I haven't done a whole lot because I'm actually finishing up my classes for this semester. I have 2 more weeks, and then I'll be able to better plan. I have from then until February to actually get some more stuff going for myself for this book.
Okay. All righty. All right. Well, I'll send you some, valuable, women that I know who have a great podcast, Christian podcast, so that you can get exposure there. I love helping authors, so I'm gonna send you those awesome ladies. I'll connect you in email, and they can tell you about their podcast. Absolutely.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, thank you so much for that. That is awesome.
You are so welcome. Well, once again, thank you so much for coming back to Sistah's Place podcast.
Yes.
And we will be talking again. And everyone, we will drop the link in our group, in our podcast group, for this interview. Meanwhile, you guys stay safe, stay healthy. Barbara, you stay safe and stay healthy and get some rest.
Right. Likewise, sister. Likewise. I will. I have no choice. I have to deal with kids, so I have no choice.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you
have
so
a great
very
evening.
much. You do the same.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Be sure to subscribe to Letrice's YouTube channel, Sistah's Place, and follow her on all social media.